Hello, hello, YouTube land. Today I'm looking at Donkey Kong for the Colecovision. This is a game I already reviewed for the Atari 2600, which wasn't actually that good of a game. But this version is fairly different in a lot of ways, and as a result, it's a better version across the board. Now, this might not be a picture-perfect arcade copy, but this one is still really good. Donkey Kong was developed by Nintendo way back in 1981, and it was a popular arcade cabinet. We're talking early 80s arcades were littered with this game. Pretty much every arcade probably had one. It was just, they sold a ton. It was just super popular. This particular version was a pack-in game with the Colecovision system bundle. And actually it's one of the better games I've played for the Colecovision so far. I've only got 15 or 20 games for that system, but this one's pretty much at the top of that pile. I think this version does a lot of things right. First, this one has 3 different levels. Doesn't sound like a lot, especially considering that the arcade console had 4, but the Atari 2600 version only has 2, so this one gets us closer to the arcade experience in that regard. It also has decent music that accompanies the gameplay, and I think the animations in this one are relatively smooth. Maybe not as perfect as the arcade, but pretty decent for a home console. You also get this really sweet ninja jump kick when you leap, and every time I jump in this game, I smile just a little bit. The story to this classic is pretty straightforward. I mean, if you can call it a story. You control good old Mario, and you're running through different mazes trying to rescue your girlfriend. At the end of this level, the stage, whatever. All the while you're dodging enemies and whatever obstacles are there along the way. I find it curious that they didn't give this woman a name. They only refer to her as Mario's girlfriend in the manual. I also checked the 2600 manual, and it's the same thing. I know this is minor, but not giving her a name, I think it's a lost opportunity, and it's kind of fascinating at the same time. If, quote, your girlfriend was given a name, she'd maybe be seen as a real person to an extent, not just a body that you're trying to rescue. Now, this is a 40-year-old game, of course. Times were different. But it's certainly interesting how times have changed, for sure. I think the first level of this game is always the most recognizable to anybody that sees it. This actually has one less ramp than the arcade version, and Donkey Kong is on the right side of the screen as opposed to the left. It's minor. Still, it's a decent comparison to the arcade. In this one, you spend your time trying to ascend ramps and avoiding barrels that Donkey Kong is rolling down into your way. I think they roll at a decent enough speed, they look fine, and this first stage is certainly all about timing your jumps right and paying attention to what else might be rolling towards you as you move along. You can pick up a hammer on this level, and you can use the hammer to smash the incoming barrels for points. You'd think that this is a good idea, but I don't know, I have a problem with it. I find that when I grab the hammer, I hold onto it for far too long. You can't press a button and just get rid of it. You have to hold onto it for the entire duration of the song. I get bored waiting for this thing to go away. You can't climb a ladder while you have it. You just have to wait this one out. It's kind of a bother, because the level is on a timer. So once you grab the hammer, it could become problematic, as it eats away the time you have to get to the end of the stage. The second level is orchestrated a little different. You have to make your way through this particular maze. You have to dodge these fireball creatures. They're creatures, but they're called fireballs. And you have to jump over very specific spots, these little squares. They're called rivets, in this level anyway. They're holding the structure together. If you jump over one, it disappears. You have to get rid of all of them. If you get rid of all of them, then you will end the level. Basically, you're trying to send Donkey Kong plummeting to his doom, it seems. Maybe it's not a very nice way to end a stage, but it's what we've got. The third level is a series of platforms and elevators, and you need to avoid the fireball creatures again, and just make your way through this sort of platformy maze to the end. After this, the levels start to repeat. What I don't remember from the Atari version, or the one thing that feels really different compared to that version, is that you can more easily jump off the sides of the platforms and fall to your death. And I seem to do this more than I would like. So Donkey Kong is a high score type of game, and the fun is, of course, how far you can get, how high your points are. It handles well enough to let me get through a few levels, which is nice. I struggled a lot more with the Atari 2600 version for sure. It was slower and much more difficult to handle. I think in this one Mario looks pretty great, and I do like his little running animations as he's bouncing around and jump kicking his way to glory. I think this is a pretty good port. It's definitely good for the time, and it's certainly a solid game on the Colecovision system. The music is also really good in this one too. It sort of stands out for me. It's definitely repetitive, but I expect that with a game of this era. The fact that they inserted it to begin with is a bonus. Well, that's all I have today for Donkey Kong for the Colecovision. It's pretty good. I really like it. If you like this type of video, please feel free to like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and thank you so much for stopping by. Hope to catch you on another video.